So my mother contacted me and she helped me get back home. And what I didn't know was that I was being sacrificed. And I wanted to be sure before I even said anything. And so before I spoke, I took some time. I realized that I've actually been set up to be sacrificed for a long time now. It's just, I took a walk with God on this walk of faith. And on this walk of faith, I've got closer to God. My faith has increased. And I've learned a lot of things that were very helpful. Things about spirituality, things about the world and how it works. A lot of times the black sheep will be the sacrifice if you are the black sheep. I've even been led to read my Bible more, and as I read it and the Spirit comes over me, I come into a higher understanding, a deeper understanding that the chosen are set aside and they are set apart from the world. And I used to take it personally, but it's not about me. And that's what really God is showing me and telling me, that it's not about me. We don't fight flesh and blood. It's the spirits and the principalities. Demons are always in gangs. And this is why demons gang stalk. They look for a source to feed on because they're not connected to a source. Like Kevin Gates said, the source that I'm connected to is God. And when they look to sacrifice you, they look to you and they look on the outside of you. Like, what is it about you? But everything about me comes from God. And instead of these individuals going to God and doing the work and going through the trials and tribulations and studying and dedicating themselves to God and releasing their ego and their attachments to this world, what they seek to do is sacrifice other people. Now, I've actually been set up to be sacrificed since my grandfather has passed. I have a son, Dantes Lewis White. I named him Dantes after the movie The Count of Monte Cristo, the 2002 version. I haven't seen the new one yet. But during this sacrifice, I took time to be away from my son and be away from my son's mother. And I didn't tell them why it was happening. But this is just something I was instructed to do. And so she's developed some scorn and some bitterness against me. And together, I haven't been allowed to see my son. And they have plans for him. So I'm making this video to finally speak, because I seen this quote by Zorm Reyes, I believe her name is, where she says, if you're silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it. Since I've been home, I've had videos, I have like secret cameras around in the basement where I sleep. And even like when I used to masturbate, the videos, they would make videos of me and sell them. And I've taken this time to really like question myself instead of looking at other people and looking at the world. And God has been using this situation to change me, change my mind, and change my heart, to bring me closer. And so, if you are being sacrificed and you've never experienced this before, I want to let you know how it goes and how to stay protected. So, in the Bible it says they will hate you without a cause. The cause is the Spirit of God. There's only two sides. And for a long time I thought maybe there could be this thing of neutrality where, I'm not getting involved, or I'm just, a wonder, I'm just this guy, nobody's special. But that's not the truth, because everybody is special. And this whole thing about being chosen is you making the choice. And like, if you ever seen the movie The Matrix, he says, when he speaks to the Oracle, they sit on the bench. And he's trying to understand, and she says, you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made the choice. You're here to understand why you've made the choice. And I'm understanding quantum physics and life in the spiritual realm more. And I'm understanding that I made the choice before I came here to serve God. And that's why he chose me. We're only chosen because we choose God. And he chooses us for a purpose. And so, during this sacrifice, as soon as my grandfather passed, as soon as he passed away, in 2019, at the end of 2019, the summer of 2019, he was just a couple months away from his 88th birthday. He's a Virgo with the Gemini moon. Then I learned about Mercury, about how it takes 88 days to travel around the sun to make one revolution. And then we also do 9 months in our mother's womb. And before he passed, he told me, as we grow weaker in the physical, we grow stronger in the spiritual. And he told me not to worry about him, that God has him. And at the time, I really didn't understand anything. And when he left, my mother kicked me out shortly after, in December 24th or 2019, right before COVID. It was 5 days before my son's birthday. And I was planning to go see him. I had just won $2,500 from the casino. And I told my little brother, and he told her. And she came asking for money, but I had already planned to use the money, because he was living in Colorado at the time with his mother, to go out there and visit him and bring him a gift for Christmas and for his birthday. And so we had a disagreement, and she put me out the house in 2019 at the very end. So the start of 2020, I was homeless, and I had been homeless for a few years until I found a job. I was working 2 jobs. I worked at McDonald's in this warehouse. I worked 8 hours at McDonald's and 12 hours at this warehouse. And I slept on the bus and the park benches in between. At some point, I was working 20 hours a day, and I was homeless. And I found vacant houses I was staying in. And at one point, I was camping out in the woods near Coldwater Creek. Now, I had met a girl. And what I didn't know was this girl was actually my cousin, and that my mother had sent her to keep an eye on me. And it didn't make sense to me, like, at first, but I should have known, because my mother's first name, she has the same middle name as my mother's first name. And so she had plans for me, and she tried sacrificing me a couple times, but I made it out of it. A lot of times I was set up to be sacrificed, and the Holy Spirit led me to make the right decision. One time I didn't make the right decision, and it cost me. Regardless of what other people do, regardless what other people do in your environment and anything, everything is dependent on what you choose to do, your actions, whether you obey the laws that God has given us, the laws of the universe, and the laws in the Bible. What I'm learning about witchcraft is they manipulate you to use your own power against you. And so the first thing they do when they set you up to be sacrificed is they ruin your reputation. And so they spread rumors, they spread lies, they even frame you. This girl that I was dating that I didn't know was my cousin, one thing that she did was make fake accounts on Grindr, on Tinder, on Facebook, on all these different social media sites. And when we had sex, she made videos and she sold those videos, she exploited those videos. And everyone has this idea about me. And they say so many things, like I'm a homosexual, but I'm not a homosexual. As far as homosexuality, I just don't agree with it personally. I'm just not a homosexual. I don't have anything against homosexuals. But as far as me, I refer back to 1822. Leviticus 18, chapter 18, verse 22. And Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22. Now, I don't judge anybody. Judge not lest ye be judged. The only one that could judge us is God. And so we all fall short of the glory, and no sin is greater than the other. And it took me a long time to understand that, because